if I knew that it was going to be this sharp. Just saying hi.
Okay, we are live. So,
Hello.
hi everyone.
Hi everyone. Hi.
So yeah, the comments will come in, but not so soon. So if you're live if you're watching this, you can comment live. So if you're live and you're watching this below, please comment live, and would love to know who you are and
Yeah.
what you do, and
Yeah.
we will see how we can help you as well. So today we have Christel here with us.
Hello. Hi everyone. I'm Christel, founder of Grow PR. Thank you, Bob, for having me.
Yeah, so let me do a quick introduction for those of you who are here. So Christel is the founder of Grow PR, and she has helped businesses to get featured in top tier media like BBC News, Entrepreneur, and the Straits Times. Some of her clients include startups such as ShopBack, Softbank Robotics, among others. So today we will talk about how to get top tier PR that generates leads. So Christel, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Bob.
Okay, so Christel, besides my introduction, anything else you'd like to share with our audience as well?
Anything I would like to share? Well, I think maybe I can talk about what I will be covering this session. So I will be talking about what makes up PR, what are the different angles that we can go through, as well as what is the purpose of PR. But I think also I am curious to find out like who is tuning in, and
Okay.
also to know that we are not alone, right, Bob?
Okay, we are definitely not alone. So let me bring up some of the comments that we are getting. So we have Chris Chuang here, and Chris Chuang says,
Hello,
comment
Chris.
live. So he actually
Hi.
comment live instead of just live. Hi, Chris. And we have Wasugi. So Wasugi also has been
Hi,
very
Vasugi.
supportive of all my live. So thanks for coming, Wasugi. So hi, Wasugi. And we have Robert Barry all the way from the US. So Robert
Hi,
says
Robert.
hi as well. So for the rest of you, if you are watching this live, we would like to hear from you. So please comment live below, and we'd love to know who you are as well. And we'd love to see how we can help you. So if you're watching this live, please comment live below. Okay. And I think we have more. And Chris is actually in the print of POSM means point of sale material. So point of sale is like,
Yeah.
if you go to, now you buy milk powder, right? So you know the things, the standee around the milk powder, the shelf, that's called a shelf talker. So that's part of POSM. So the thing about doing live is a lot of things are delayed. So the comments are coming in late because there's a delay. So expect that when we are doing some engagement. So we have Greg Rosner all the way from New York. So
Hello,
live from New
Greg.
York. Greg
Hi.
Rosner live from New York. And then we have LinkedIn user, but I can't see who is that. So no worries. And then we have someone from Estonia, Hando Sinsalu from Estonia.
Hello.
Okay, Marissa. Marissa, the LinkedIn user that is here. I'm not sure why it doesn't show, but this is Marissa Kubina, and she says hi. And this one, I think this one is Steve Leeds. So hi, Steve, as well. Steve is also from the US. So some of the profiles I cannot see, but some of them here, we have Darren Liao, Andrew Wong, Linda Jackson as well from the US, and Jonas all the way from Germany, Berlin. So very international audience today. And so this one is, let me check who is this. So this is Calvin Fu, but for some reason, the StreamYard doesn't show his name, but he said, hi, Christel, really look forward to learning from PR Guru. He's Calvin from the financial services in Singapore. And
Calvin, can you
then,
share a little bit, like specifically in financial services, what do you do? Just curious.
okay. Yeah, please share with us what you do in financial services, and we will see how we can help you as well. We have Hong Kong, Linda Jackson from Hong Kong, Jasmine Liao from Malaysia. So hi, Jasmine, managed to sign in. So we have a very international audience here. We also have Ninda Samsuri from Malaysia. Jeffrey Tan, the video influencer, and Jeffrey Tan from Malaysia as well. And yeah, very international audience. And I think we can get straight into the topic. So we'd love to hear from Calvin Fu, what type of financial do you do? And we have the famous Dr. Eric Siu, who also does regular LinkedIn lives. So Dr. Eric Siu is a real doctor. He's really a doctor. He owns
Oh,
clinics, and he also runs a agency, digital marketing, I think a creative agency called Chuba.
wow.
So I also watch his LinkedIn lives. So
Very
thanks for
busy,
joining us,
Dr. Eric.
Dr. Eric. Yeah, so Dr. Eric is also one of our listeners here. Okay, so I think we enough of saying hi to everyone. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's start with the fundamental question. And for those in the audience that don't know, I just want to tackle this because when I do my teachings, I always want to come with clarity. And without clarity, we cannot move forward to the next steps. So we need to be clear about objectives. We need to be clear about what we do. So let's start with what is PR. So let's give some clarity here. So my first question to you, Christel, is what is PR?
Okay, Bob, I think for people who are not exactly very sure about what PR is, I think you can most immediately compare it to an advertisement. So let's say if you see an advertisement in the newspaper or in today's time, let's say you see in the online articles, you see a sponsored article. PR is often compared to that because what we do is that we try to get brands featured in those publications. So like you can imagine the international media publications like BBC, or like let's say if it's in Malaysia, the new Straits Times, some of these publications. Our role is really to get brands featured in these publications so that we increase their visibility, raise their awareness. And we do this at a fraction of advertising costs. So clients work with us, they don't pay any advertising fee to the media, but they pay us a certain fee to craft messages and pitch to the media. So in that sense, it is editorial content. What we do is that we focus on telling stories. We focus on sharing content with the media that would be interesting to their audience. So in that sense, that is PR.
I see. That's great. So it's very important to understand that. So it's editorial content that not only the brand themselves find interesting, but the audience or the readers of the publication would find interesting as well.
That's right.
So my next question would be is why is PR important and how can it help a business?
I think startup founders, we work mainly with like venture-backed startups and SMEs in Singapore, right, Bob? We do have some clients outside of Singapore as well, but our focus is really in Singapore. And startup founders typically come to us for a couple of reasons. Firstly, they are trying to raise the visibility of their brand. They feel that if they compare to competitors, there isn't much that helps them stand out in terms of maybe their positioning or their messaging. And also there is possibly a lack of awareness in their industry about what they do. And also maybe they are in a trade that people don't really know so much about, right? And that's why they want to do PR. They want to generate awareness. They want to sort of share with people a little bit more about in their industry and what they do. So that is why they come to us. And eventually, what we want to do is it okay if I share slides, Bob?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
So
So
please share your screen.
Okay, so the slide that I want to share is we want to eventually be able to move people up this ladder from being discovered to securing interest from maybe stakeholders and then getting opportunities, whether in the form of sales from customers or getting connected with different stakeholders like investors, resellers, stuff like that. And that's really what we want to achieve through PR. PR is that top of the funnel in trying to get people, as many people as possible, to know about your brand. And then, you can rely on your other methods to convert them into customers. Yeah.
I see. So in these three, actually I wanted to ask you questions about the slide. Can you
Oh,
bring it up
sorry.
there?
Give me a minute. Let me bring it up again.
Yeah. So let's keep it there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And And then let's talk a bit about the slides. So I always like the session to be a bit of a teaching session as well. And so it goes from discoverability. So it's important for like a brand to be discovered and to be known, and also to gather interest from their audience, and that leads to opportunities. So using this, can you give us some examples or maybe some of your client stories that you had that moved through this ladder?
Okay, sure. So I guess one of the clients that we recently worked with, I guess actually last year, not that recent, but sort of. So
Mm,
they are a live stream commerce platform called Shoppervision. And when we started working with them, they have not launched their platform yet. But we worked with them for the launch and for like a 6 month duration. And I think after the campaign, what was very exciting for us is that, when I currently speak to people who do live streaming or who are in the industry, they generally know about Shoppervision, they know about this brand. And that is very
mm,
exciting to me because we have um, actually made that brand recall happen.
mm.
And I think that is what we want to achieve for our clients and even through different people who are, using PR as one of the strategies. At the end of the day, you want people in the industry to know who you are. You want people in the industry to know what you do. And we want to do that through PR, through like seeing certain articles out there and saying, hey, I know about this brand or that brand. Yeah.
Oh, so brand recall is very important. I
Yeah.
see. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks so much. So let's take a quick break and also address our audience a bit. So thanks all for coming. So I think there are some people saying hi. So let me remove
Hello.
this. So Aoyong, who is a licensed financial planner, say hi. So just now, Calvin Fu actually had clarification. He's a regional distribution officer in Singapore, actually financial services in
Sure.
Singapore.
Okay. Cool.
And then we have this gentleman here who calls me Bob the Builder. So it's Simon Wong. And
Yeah.
he actually in my WhatsApp, I do say I'm Bob the Builder in my WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So
That's
Simon
very
Wong
cute.
is actually the general manager of the Retail Chain Association. I hope I said that right.
Mm.
So he's in charge of all the retail in Malaysia.
Okay.
Okay, so let me get some interaction from our audience right here before we move on to the next questions. So since Christel has shared with us, it moves from discoverability to opportunities. So I want to know from our audience as well. So let me know. So Christel has shared you can be featured in BBC, in different media out there. Are you looking to be featured in any media? So please comment below if you are looking to be featured in any media or any dream media you are looking to be featured on. You can comment below. So for example, I have not got the opportunity, but in Malaysia, I really would love to have. Okay, so I hope they're not listening. I would love to have an opportunity to go on BFM, but so what if you can comment in the comments below, what media are you looking to be featured on as well? And would love to know as well. So if you are here and you are watching this, you can comment below what media are you looking to be featured on. Okay, so while the audience comments, so Christel, another question I would be, so like I am sort of a small business founder, and a lot of the audience here are, let's say, small medium business owners as well. We have a financial coach, and we have a lot of different people. So my next question, before we get to it, is how does a business get started to PR? Okay, so before I let you answer the question, actually we had one response from Calvin Fu, and he said Calvin Fu actually said he wants to be on TV. So which
Which
TV channel?
TV?
Yeah, which TV is very important. Is it how to say Channel 8 or what TV are you looking to be featured, Calvin Fu? And yeah, if you need help with this, Calvin Fu, you can reach out to Christel yourself, and I think she can help you to get this TV opportunity. So we'd love to know as well, as we continue to answer questions, what media are you looking to be featured on? And comment below. We'd love to know whether it's in Malaysia, you're looking to be featured on The Star, or in Singapore, it'll be like something like the Straits Times. So you can comment below as well. So Christel, so back to the question. So the question would be, so I have someone as well. Kelvin Su actually said he wants to be on CNA. So
Oh,
same with me. I
okay.
also want to be on CNA. So yeah, very interesting. So moving on to the question would be, how does a business get started with PR?
Okay, I think usually when small business owners, SMEs come to us and explore like PR campaigns or PR retainers, depending on how long the duration is, we usually go through with them like a certain checklist to identify where they are in this process and whether they are ready for PR. So there are a few things that we are looking out for. So we are looking at how differentiated they are, like their business, is it very unique, are there very few people in their trade, for example. Also, are they trying to solve a problem that matters to people? Those are things that we look out for. We also look out for things like early traction. We know that a lot of the startup founders that we work with, they are developing their product and stuff like that. But we are looking to, for PR, what the media looks for is also things like having a certain number of customers, or having a certain revenue that we can talk about, things like early partnerships that we can share. So early traction is really important for brands who are looking for PR. Another thing is your digital infrastructure. We would advise brands to ensure that your website, your social media, or your funnels are in place and ready to get going before we embark on a PR campaign. That's because you can imagine, Bob. Let's say your brand gets featured in a very prominent media platform, and people who see that article or see that TV news clip or something like that, and they want to find out a little bit about your brand. They Google it and they don't find anything, and then that's a missed opportunity. So these are the things that we share with them. Traction, whether how differentiated their business is, as well as the digital infrastructure, whether it's ready and in place.
I see. So yeah, that's a good one. And so when it comes to media, so for example, Calvin here shares that he wants to be on CNA. So is it different for different types of media? Because CNA is TV. So you
Yeah.
also talk about print, and then we have digital, online. So how is it different for these different type of media as well?
Okay, so for Channel News Asia, I think that is great in the sense that it has a very regional reach, with a lot of people in Asia, right? Channel News Asia covers a lot of different segments, from business to more lifestyle related topics. So the thing with media, regardless of the media publication, whether it is like TV or online, or anything like that, it's getting to be familiar and understand how the media works. So that we can identify opportunities that we can pitch ourselves into some of these platforms or publications. So, for example, for Kelvin, right?
Yeah,
Is that right,
Calvin
Bob?
Fu. Yeah, Calvin Fu.
Kelvin, in the financial services industry, how we would do things is that we would like to identify broadly who are the media, like let's say the journalists that actually write about topics that would relate to your industry. So we would come up with certain keywords. We would search on CNA and see who are these journalists, for example. We would try to connect with them, and identify whether they are open to any story opportunities. So that's just a quick tip of how we usually do the work, Bob.
I see. Oh, yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing. And I remember before this conversation that we're having, you also had like a framework for PR, something like a 4 Ps as well, is it?
Yes,
Can you
yes,
share that
yes.
with us?
Sure. Let me share that with you. I'll share the slides with you. Give me a
Okay.
minute. Let me pull out my slides. Okay, right. Okay, so yeah, this is the 4 Ps reputation mastery framework that we use at Go PR. So we believe that this is what makes a strong brand, and we cover various aspects of this reputation mastery framework when it comes to planning out the stories that we want to pitch to the media for a client. So we know that we are telling different facets of the brand, and that is what makes it robust to get all these aspects of the brand out there. So the first one is product, right? Meaning, like, what is it that you are offering to your clients that is different, right? What is it you're offering? So let's say sometimes we do certain launches, product
Mm,
launches, and also maybe certain reviews, getting the media to trial certain things. That is what we do. People. So I think that when it comes to small business owners, startups, and small medium enterprises, the media is generally quite interested in founder stories, given that the startup landscape is really up and coming in a lot of cities in Asia.
mm,
So then we would like really pitch founder stories, like what inspired you to start this business, what were the motivations that you have, what are some of the challenges that you experience, really the journey that you are on, what is your vision for the future for the company. So we would pitch some of these human interest stories about the founders,
mm,
and then following that, then it would be the performance aspect. The performance aspect is really like who this brand is through the different partners that the brand has. So let's say the brand just announced a funding round. So who invested in the company? What are some of the partnerships that the brand is making? Uh, that is one of the areas. The last one is perspective, and this is something that I believe that many business owners in the B2B space can offer. So this is the thought leadership aspect of things. In your trade, Bob, there are things that you know that many people don't know about that are not in your specific trade. So we want to push out certain thought leadership pieces, like getting the media or getting the public to know some of these key insights that would be relevant to them, right?
mm,
For example, let's say there is a report out there that says, oh, 76% of people are now getting hired via LinkedIn. So there's this news report, and then Bob, you can write into this
mm,
journalist very quickly to say, "Hey, I'm a LinkedIn expert, and I want to comment on this topic. So this is what I have to say on this topic. I feel that this is happening because blah 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 blah." So something like this, being able to newsjack. It's called newsjacking, like to leverage
mm,
on what is current and being able to comment something. Yeah. Other areas when it comes to perspective is that, let's say your business is a platform based or like a technology company, and you have like a lot of data on it. So if you have some of these trends that you are seeing in terms of maybe consumer behavior, those are some insights that we can share with the media as well.
okay.
Yeah, so
So,
broadly
a very
that is the
interesting point on
mm.
the newsjacking as well. And very interesting point on that. And before I move on to ask you a question on that, because I also want to leave the audience with actionable advice. So newsjacking is something interesting that I want to understand. But before I move on to that, so if you have any questions on PR, please comment below, and we will try to answer them as well. So for the audience who are here, whether you're Wasugi, Dr. Eric, or whoever who is watching here, if you have any questions when it comes to PR, we will be answering them soon. So comment your questions below. So, one interesting point. So I like the 4 Ps here from product. You have the interesting product, and then you have people and performance, and then perspective is where you talk about the newsjacking, which I really like. Okay, so when it comes to perspective, the news you say newsjacking. So how can someone actually do that? Do I find a report somewhere, or can I read anything on a newspaper and send in my perspective? How do I actually do that?
Okay, when it comes to expert opinions, like sharing your perspective, there are many different ways to do it. I will be covering this in my webinar coming up as well, but let me share a little quick tip maybe. So when it comes to sharing your perspective, there are two ways to do it. One is seeing that there is a current news out there, and then telling like the media that you can comment on this because of your expertise in this area. That's one. Another is contributing a byline article. A byline article is something, it's like a long form piece, maybe like about 700 to 1,000 words, your perspective on this specific topic. So with the different media, then the topic will be different, the style of writing will be different. But maybe let us go into how you can comment very quickly, right? On some of these very trending news pieces. So let's say you see an announcement out there that would be relevant to your brand. Like for example, Bob, we mentioned, we see a report out there that says that a company maybe did some research and said, oh, 76% of fresh graduates now are getting hired via LinkedIn. And then what you can do is immediately when you see this report that is out.
Okay, so sorry, I have to stop you here. So what do you mean by report?
Oh, sorry. If you see this news article.
Oh, okay. Oh my God. Okay, so it's a
So
very
sorry.
stupid question,
So
but
sorry.
but we don't understand report. So
No worries,
news
no worries.
article. Okay.
So let's say if you see this news article out, like some of Calvin mentioned Channel News Asia earlier. So let's say you see this news article out on Channel News Asia on this research finding, 76% of fresh graduates are getting hired via LinkedIn. You saw it out. Maybe it was published like 2 hours ago. What you can do immediately is if you can find the reporter's name on the Channel News Asia article site, you can quickly take down his or her email and then write an email to this person with a quote. So, for example, given this research finding, what is your perspective and what is your take on this issue? Like, for example, why do you think this is happening? Is it because of certain factors? So you can draft a quick quote and share it with this reporter, and then to say that, hey, this is what I can comment on. Would you be keen to include this in your article, maybe? Or would you be keen to include to do like a follow-up story? Maybe it could be a follow-up interview and stuff like that. Yeah.
I see. So what happens if you, let's say, if I write in to this reporter on this report, on this news article, I say, hey, this is happening because, etc. What will happen? Will he write another article, or what will happen then?
Okay, so it depends. It depends on the story. So let's say if that quote is of value, they may include it within that article itself. Or let's say they are interested in this topic specifically, then what they can do is that they would be able to maybe, if they're interested, schedule a follow-up interview with you on your perspective on this topic. Yeah.
Oh,
And that
I
could
see.
be in a future article, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So just to recap this newsjacking activity. So
Yeah.
I see a news article on Channel News Asia or any other publication. What I can do is I can write to them within a few hours, right? Within a few hours. It has to be quick. Cannot
You have
be
to
like after a
you
few
have to
days.
be really immediate. Yeah,
Has to
something
be
like that.
immediate. So like that's very important point. So you have to be immediate. So I'll write to the reporter. So I'll look for the article and look for the name. So let's say the article is written by Albert Tan, right? So I will go and look for Albert Tan's email, whether it's on Twitter or whether it's on the website itself, and
Yeah.
then email Albert Tan on a perspective of this, right?
Yes.
So you also
Yes.
mentioned how to put a quote. So that means I will write, you can quote me, or how do I do it? I just write my
So
whole opinion.
you can write it like this is my perspective on this issue, and then you can write it like in open and close inverted commas, like how it would appear in an article.
I see.
like with your
Oh, so okay.
designation and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, so after that, the reporter might or might not add it to the article,
Mm-hmm,
or they
mm-hmm.
might or might not ask you for an interview as well.
Correct,
That's
correct,
great.
correct. It's
I
really
think
depending
that's
on.
yeah, that depending on the a lot of things, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Depending on the reporter and stuff. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that's a very important thing that we can take away as well. I think some of the audience can try this as well. Okay, and it's something that we can do on our daily life. Look for news articles and
Mm-hmm.
try to newsjack, send them some perspective on what we think and what we do as well. So we have a question actually from Calvin Fu. So Calvin Fu asked a question. I think he's the most excited one to be here. I think he's really looking to be forward featured in Channel News Asia. So Crystal, please help him. So he said, on your why, how do you position SMEs for founder story pitch to media? So do you
Okay.
understand his question?
Yes, yes, I do, I do. Which is
Okay.
why, Calvin, like what I mentioned. Sorry, like, I'm moving my camera, so please forgive me if I start moving. But yeah, okay. So
Okay.
we when it comes to SMEs and startups, right? Yes, there are so many of these companies. So how do we make their story exciting for the media? Firstly, we have to choose the right brands to work with. Agro PR. So we need to know that what they're doing is differentiated in some form or another, so that we are able to pitch their stories in a way that will be interesting to media. That is one. But of course, sometimes the differentiation factor may not always be that clear. Then what we do is that we because we have been doing this for some time, so there are certain markers for us to identify, okay, what would make a story more exciting or more different. And
Mm,
how we do this is we try to put up certain numbers. For example, one of the clients that we worked with last year was a digital marketing agency.
mm,
And I mean, I guess you can imagine, right? There are like many, many, many digital marketing agencies out there. So how do
mm,
we differentiate this brand from another? So what we did was that, this digital marketing agency founder was really young. He's maybe like 23, and
mm,
he saved a good amount of money in his bank. So I said, hey, since you have this amount of money, which is like the revenue you gain from your company, are you open to sharing that revenue? So he said yes, and then we pitched it to the media. We said, 22-year-old founder has amassed wealth of XX amount at this age. And then we talk about, how he grew up in a less privileged family, how he get to where he is today, blah, 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 and like a little bit about the work that they do. So yeah, that is an example of how we find an angle. I'm not sure if I answered your question, Calvin, but if you have any follow-up questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer. Yeah.
yeah, I remembered reading this article recently as well about a Singaporean startup founder in Bali, and he's like how much money he raised or how much money he's generated and living in Bali. So something like that. So it's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
so
things like that, the media wants to know numbers. They want to
mm,
know how much money you make, how much capital you invested into your business, things like that. That will be exciting to them.
okay, numbers are so if we take anything out of this whole live session, numbers are important. So the next question, also from Calvin Fu, I think he really needs your help, Crystal. So he already asked on newsjacking. So he said, how do you find out articles that they are working on rather than articles they have already written?
Okay, so Calvin, how we do this is that we identify the media uh, specifically first. So because, like, for example, if we work with tech media or we work with like lifestyle media, we know roughly who these editors and journalists are because it's our trade, right? It's our bread and butter. So we actually keep a media list of this editors specifically. What are their pet topics? What are they interested about? What do they often write about? So we know coming up that these are the topics of interest to them. And we know coming up, like there will be certain pieces of news that would matter during certain seasons. For example, if we talk about the budget announcements in the different countries, during the budget announcements, the media will be talking about certain things like, you know, the aging population. They'll be talking about education, military spending, stuff like that. So we know which are the media who would be interested in some of these topics. Another thing, let's talk about something more like mainstream and lifestyle. For example, Christmas, year end, generally the lifestyle media will be very interested in gift guides, and also in the holiday spirit, what people are doing differently. For example, this year, given that the pandemic does not allow us to travel, so there will be lifestyle media who are working on these type of stories, and we know because we follow them and we find out, okay, from past articles, these are some of the things that they cover. So then we would reach out to these people. So basically, I guess to sum up everything that I've said is that we have a very specific list of who these editors, these journalists are, what are things that they like to write about. So then we would be able to reach out to them to offer them something similar that would interest them because we know that this is what they're interested in. Yeah.
I see. So it's to offer them value, give them something that you think they want
Yeah.
before they even write about it. So that's great. So
Yeah.
how you do that is
Okay,
to
wait. Sorry,
monitor
sorry. I
them.
mean, let me jump in on this point. And we give them something that we think that they want, but mainly we think that they want it because they think that their reader wants it.
Wow,
Do you know what
that's
I
the
mean?
inception. So that's
They
a bit
think that their audience wants it.
okay. Okay.
Because so the media or like the editors or journalists, they choose certain stories to work on that they think will be of interest to the general readers like you and me, right? I mean, at the end of
Mm,
the day, they want their stories to be heard, they want their stories to be seen, they want the most clicks and stuff like that. So that
mm.
is what they're looking for. So if we can offer them something that we know the audience and general readers want to find out
Ah,
about, that's when we have hit that spot. So at the end of the day, when we are pitching certain stories, whether it is announcements or like human interest stories, like founder stories, we need to ask ourselves at the end of the day, why does it
mm.
matter? Why does such a story matter? Does it sound like a company promotional message? If it is, then we are really off track. Yeah.
Mm. That's great, and we need to give them something that will entice their audience. So that's great advice. As Alan Tay here says, great advice. So
Thanks,
thanks, Alan.
Helen.
Alan is from Malaysia. We have another question from Venus in Malaysia, and his
Okay.
question is more on the other side of PR, which I have not covered because I think I'm too positive. But his question is: in the digital world, sometimes your article, video, or uploads potentially attract negative comments. From a
Mm-hmm.
PR perspective, how do you manage this?
Okay, Vinesh, I will share with you a little bit about my perspective on this. But before I go too much into this, I would like to find out, is there a specific experience you have that you would like to share, or like a certain specific question that you have that I can answer more directly? That is
Mm,
another one. And before I go into my answer, please let me know if I'm speaking too fast because I know that I have a tendency to speak really quickly, Bob. So
mm,
please tell me to slow down if I am. Regarding this question about article, video uploads, getting negative comments, yes, this happens. This also happens very much so because today's world is one of like cancel culture in a way. I can share with you some very personal experiences, all right? When I
mm,
so last year I had a baby, right, Bob? And when I had
mm,
that baby, when I had my daughter, sorry, this editor at a publication in Singapore called Today asked me to write a piece about how I actually jumped straight back into work without much of a maternity break. So I wrote that piece on Today, and people, there were a lot of haters. So a lot of people were like saying, oh, like why are you doing this? You only have like your maternity to you have your maternity once. You don't have like are you sacrificing your child for work? You will regret it later. So I had a lot of these negative comments. And at the end of the day, I do think it's about how much you are able to stomach some of these things, because I feel that if you are putting across a strong point,
Mm,
oftentimes that strong point is going to draw uh, a crowd following. There'll be people who agree strongly with your point, but at the same time, there'll be people who disagree strongly with your point. So at the end of the
mm.
day, I do think it's how much you are able to stomach some of these things. Do you need to respond to all the comments? Maybe yes, maybe no. It is not a crisis that you have caused by your negligence if it is a fact that you stand by very firmly and surely at the end of the day.
That's great advice. So it's, I think someone said this, I'm not sure. If you try to appeal to everyone, you appeal to no one. So when you make a stance, especially if your stance is a bit polarizing, that's where you'll get lovers and you'll get haters. So
That's right.
uh,
And then, Bob, I also feel that, like when you are in this territory, it means that you have gotten a strong point, and
mm,
you have actually made a point that is able to ruffle feathers and cause some form of emotion. And isn't that better than having a message that nobody really cares about? Yeah.
So yeah, take a stance for things that you really believe in. So keep your questions. I think we can take one or two more questions more. So if I hope that answers your question, Vignesh. But if you have any more questions, especially all of those of you watching, you can comment them here as well. We will answer them before we end this live. So before we go, I also want to help Christel to promote her webinar. So Christel, when is this webinar happening?
This webinar is happening in August. Give me a minute. Let me pull it out because I cannot remember as well.
Okay,
This
so take your
webinar is
time, no worries.
happening
We
on
are
the
live, so in live we will take time to pull stuff up, right?
so
So before
in
we pull
so
stuff
this
up, Venus actually says thanks. It's good advice. So thanks,
thank
Venus.
you,
So
Vinesh.
Crystal, Venus is actually a Six Sigma consultant, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, it's very
Right,
interesting.
right, sure. So the webinar is happening on the 12th of August at 4 p.m.
Mm,
So I
mm.
have this link. Should I share this link anywhere, Bob?
You can after. So what I want them to do is, if you want to attend this webinar, so it's when again? What August? 12?
12th August, 4 p.m.
So it's on 12 August, 4 p.m. So it's very international audience. 4 p.m. Hong Kong, Singapore time. Okay,
Yes.
so it might be different in Europe. So 4 p.m. on 12 August, Crystal will be sharing a webinar on how your startup can land a top tier media opportunity. So if you're here, you're a business owner, you're a founder of a company, I highly encourage you to attend this webinar. So if you want to attend this webinar, comment webinar below, and Crystal's team or Crystal herself will send you the link to the webinar. So if you're interested in this webinar, comment webinar below. She will share in this webinar how you can land top tier media opportunities. So we'd
And
love
Bob,
to.
I also share a little bit about what I'll be talking about during this
Sure.
webinar. So during this webinar, I'll be actually sharing very, very specific step-by-step tips as to how you can identify media, like what we spoke about earlier, how you can identify the right media, how you can build that media list, and how you can draft a founder's pitch. So that is what I will be broadly sharing. I'll also
Mm,
be giving examples of how you can draft expert opinion pitches during this webinar. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, because yeah, that's great, because Calvin Fu asked about the founder speech. So Calvin, I really hope to see you at the webinar as well. So some of you are commenting. So Alan Tay commented webinar. So so get um, so get so please reach out to Alan and send him the link as well. Venus is also coming, so reach out to Venus as well. Actually, I can't see who this is, so I think this might be Calvin Fu, but let me double check. So this one as well. So if you want to attend this webinar, comment webinar below, and Crystal and her team will send you the link. Oh yeah, it's Kelvin Fu. So Kelvin Fu also says he's signing up. So it's a free webinar. It's on LinkedIn events. So comment webinar below, and Christel's team will be in touch with you. And for all those who are watching on replay, you can also comment webinar below, and Christel's team will also send it to you after this as well. We have a few. We have Andrew Wong, who is my friend, also will be coming, and Jasmine Liao, and I don't know who this is, but someone also. So Christel, be sure to check
Sure.
them out
Okay.
and send them the link as well. So thanks all for attending this live. And before we go, I also want you to highly encourage you to connect with Christel on LinkedIn. You can find Christel Goh on LinkedIn and connect with her, and comment webinar, and she will send you the webinar link as well. So before we go, Christel, any last words for our audience here?
I don't think so, but like Bob, thank you for having me, and I hope I managed to answer some of your questions. If anybody here has like follow up questions, or anything you would like to discuss, feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn. Happy to chat. Thank you, Bob.
Okay, thank you, Christel. And for just a reminder, comment webinar below, and Christel will see you at her webinar next month. So thank you everyone for joining, and thanks for all your insightful questions. And I hope you reach out to Christel if you need any help with PR in the region, not only Singapore. If you are in Malaysia or in Indonesia or anywhere in Asia, reach out to Christel, and she will be happy to help you as well. So thank you so much for everyone. I think we will end the live session right here. Thank you all for still being here. Thank you, Karen, as well. So Karen just commented webinar also. So this is actually Karen C. So yeah, so thanks all for coming, and thank you again, Christel, for being here, and look forward to see all of you at the webinar. Thank you so much. And Ellen say thanks to Christel, and you're welcome as well, Ellen. And thank you all of you who have been watching this live. I'll see you next week.